Welcome to this lecture. One last improvisation in the project code before we wrap it up. So guys, the scenario till now is that whenever a new feature is to be added in the application, developer will write its code for that, and as part of deployment, the application will be deployed to an independent dynamic environment. It will be tested there, and upon successful testing, the subsequent steps of merging to main, staging deployment and production deployment will happen, right? That's okay. But now in a large organization, there could be several teams with number of developers working on a project. So for each new feature or code development, you can say a separate dynamic environment would be created automatically. Now, though this dynamic environment creation part has solved our problems as we discussed, but guys, if you notice, it has also led us into another problem, which you would have already guessed seeing from this presentation. Problem is a huge pile of unused and idle dynamic environments. For each new feature branch, the pipeline is creating a separate dynamic environment, but once that feature branch that created that dynamic environment is merged into the main branch, as per our current configuration, we are doing nothing with that environment. After the application is tested in its dynamic environment and approved, we merge the branch into main, and probably the feature branch can be deleted too. But what about its dynamic environment? We are still keeping that dynamic environment live, which could lead us to resource crunching problem. There could be tens or even hundreds of feature branches getting created, and each of it generating its own environment, consuming a whole load of resources like disk, storage, CPU, computing power, and numerous other resources, which of course would need to compensate with money. And in our particular case, it would be the resources at Heroku Cloud we would be paying for. This is an unwanted cost which should be handled. Now, the first solution to this resource crunch problem one would think of is, once the application in dynamic environment is tested successfully and its corresponding feature branch is merged into main, the developer or some other person would log into the Heroku dashboard and manually delete the dynamic application either from CLI or from UI. Yes, you can do that, but this seems to be a little off the track as we are talking about automation here. So this would not be a valid approach. Now the other automated way would be to leverage some of the GitLab features and handle it in the pipeline itself. And how exactly we will achieve this? It is by adding a new concept into our pipeline called stop environment. By adding some additional piece of code in the pipeline and doing some settings in GitLab UI, we can achieve the automatic deletion of dynamic environments. Alright, now coming back to the code. Guys, the basic idea for adding stop environment code would be, first we will create a new job that will help us tearing down the resources occupied by dynamic environment. Tearing down in our particular case would be to destroy the application hosted at the Heroku dynamic address. And once that job is created, we will modify it and club it with the stop environment part, which will also stop the running environment from GitLab environments page. So let's create that job. Now to destroy Heroku application, we would be again using the Alpine Heroku CLI Docker image. Now under the script part, our first command would be a Heroku CLI command to destroy the Heroku application created by the previous deploy feature job. So I have copied the same command from deploy feature job. Now as part of writing the Heroku command to delete the application, the command is apps destroy and then pass the application name which is stored in variable feature app. And then confirm and again pass the application name. One side note. Guys, for clarification on any Heroku CLI command, you can visit the Heroku official documentation. There they have documented all the available Heroku CLI commands in a very simple way. So what this command will do is, Upon execution, it will find and delete the specified application from Heroku servers and will free all the resources like storage, application data, the URL from which that application is accessible, etc. Everything will be freed from Heroku servers. And yes, keep in mind, deleting an application is irreversible. And last and optional, echo message. And for this feature app variable, same like we did in deploy feature job, in here also we need to export it in before script. So paste it. And since this environment slug also won't be available in this job, so for this job also we need to specify the same environment name. Now guys, we have this job to destroy dynamic environment ready with us, though not completely ready, but yeah, in some way it is. Now the question of interest is when to run this job, after which job or in which stage this job should run. There could be few possible options that may come into your mind. I am wrapping this lecture here and asking you to give it a thought on when to run this job.